February the 3rd, 1983, we'd now like to interview Mr. Clark Hassinger. Mr. Hassinger, perhaps you could tell us when you were born.
I guess I could.
All right, sir.
I don't have it. I didn't see it, but the artists tell me.
Yeah, they tell you that you were born when? Do you remember?
Century 1902.
1902. So you would presently be 81 years old? 81 years old. Actually, 81 years young in your case. I just, well, that's wonderful. Where were you born, sir?
Down at the farm where Norman lives now.
Would you, for the benefit of future generations, would you kind of tell us where that is in relation to some highways or some roads?
I don't know the number of the road, no.
Is it back by the Holiness Church in that vicinity?
From you might say, from Benford on down to the Rollers Bridge.
Mm-hmm. And
And past the Holiness Church. And
there's a new graveyard up there on the hillside, which will probably be there for hundreds of years. And then is it right out on the bend there, right?
Yeah.
Right out from that graveyard.
You mean the Holiness Graveyard?
I guess that's what it is.
That was our farm.
Uh-huh. But that farm right out there where you go around the bend, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's where you were born.
Yeah.
And then you went to school probably right next to the Holiness Church.
Right there, where there's a living house now,
Yes.
right beside the Holiness Church.
What was the name of that
The
school?
Holiness Church stands in the school grounds. That was the school grounds. That was Greece's school.
Greece's school.
Yeah.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, there was 7 of us boys and 3 girls.
Really?
There were 10 in all.
Wow. Gosh, that would take about all the time we have for our interview just to cover the family there. How many are still living?
There were 12 of us with the parents and the 6 of us living yet. 6 are gone.
In relationship of the 10 children, where were you? Of the 10?
Well, then,
were you the oldest, youngest, or?
be four of the children would be gone. 4, and then the parents.
No, but of the 10 children born, which were you in the order?
Of course.
You were the 4th child, 4th oldest child in 1902. When did you finish going to school? Did you go through the 8th grade over there?
Yes, went through the 8th grade to, that was about 1919.
And what did you do after that?
Well, I helped on the farm.
Now, 1914, Beavertown.
I didn't go to high school, but I took a correspondence course by mail, high school.
From what institution?
American Institute, American School.
Mm-hmm. For what, in what subject?
Regular high school subject.
Oh, a high school, just general high school.
Yeah.
In any event, I was up in the post office about 10 years ago now it was. The old post office where the wisest pure food store used to be. And you were telling me how, did I know how Beavertown got started as a borough? And I said, no, I didn't. And then you went on to tell me some interesting things, which I checked out. Sure enough, they were all so. But it was rather interesting. You probably don't even remember the conversation. But you had told me that the electric light plant in Beavertown here they wanted to put street lights in the borough.
Yeah.
And they wanted everyone to pay, everyone in the township to pay for the lights.
That's right.
In Beavertown, and some of the folks living over your way and some other ones right.
No.
Do you remember some of the people who objected to this and what their feelings were?
Yes, well, the principal people of the township, besides the town here, did fight it. Jim Wyan was one, and Irvin Bingaman was another man. And they really were some of the main people that appeared at court when they went to court.
Jim Wyand lived over, I know where he lived.
At the hill there.
Yeah, it's...
and that hill, that road what I described from Bedford to the Royals Bridge, on that road he lived, and he lived over...
I believe Browses live there now?
I don't know who lives there now.
I believe so. I won't... In any event, he and... Where did the other folks live that had an objection? Weren't they pretty much all along that road there?
Oh, the township people were all objecting to it. My dad was one that was strongly opposed to it, to pay for the street light.
Because it was felt that was too highfalutin.
Well, they thought it didn't belong to them to pay. They didn't live in town.
If the people in town would pay for it, it'd be all right, but there's no reason why the people out.
I suppose Randall's father was one of them at the same time in the township and on the farm that was opposed to it, and likely.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, it certainly doesn't seem right.
I mentioned just a few, but they were all really pretty much. They were about all opposed to it. And some had to appeal at court, and others they didn't all appeal at court in the township. And George Spade here in town was one of the leading fellows to.
He was
drive for it.
One of the owners of the light plant. And
I don't know you. I don't know.
Yeah. Wasn't that, didn't they call him Stuff, too? Or that was his father?
Yeah, Stuff was his son.
Yeah, Stuff.
You know him.
Stuff Spade.
Yeah. That was
George's son.
George's son.
Yeah, George Spade's son.
Charles was his first name.
Yeah. And there were some others that were in town who got a petition together and went down, and in the court they got this established as a borough, and then they put in streetlights.
It was this way. The township people fought it, and they won. Now you see, that had to come first. They won. The judge or whatever jury, it was decided in favor of the township. The outside people, was decided in that. The town, those who fought for it in town here were beat.
Yeah.
Then, because they were beat and so on, and then the town decided they were going to ask to be a borough. And of course, the township people, I'm sure Randall will approve there, saw that's all right. They can go for a borough, then we're rid of them.
Right, right. Well, as a matter of fact, the township beat down this idea of helping to pay for the streetlights.
Yep, yep.
Then the people in the town went ahead and petitioned the courts and got themselves established as a borough, and then they did put in streetlights, and then right shortly thereafter they started digging a reservoir to have a central water supply, and well, it worked out all right.
I would like to mention one thing. Randall should know about it, but I know at the time, in my time, others maybe don't, younger ones don't know about it, that the town, before it had electric lights, it had the coal oil lights along in town here. You probably surely know of that.
He's shaking his head,
On
yes.
a post, so that's the way the lights were first set up in the town, the coal oil lights. I saw that.
Who attended to that?
Oh, someone, I wouldn't know. I was just a young kid, but I know of it, and somebody had to light them.
Well, I know that Mosey Steak up here had the brightest light in town. He had one of these fancy gas lights at one time. And there's some clippings we have from the Middleburg Post of the 1880s pointing out that the square is all adorned in the beautiful bright lights from Mosey Steak's new gas light. I would presume that the individual businesses might have had, were these lights on the corners, or were they in front of the stores, or?
They were spaced so far apart. I don't know what rule they used, but they were along the street.
Regular coal oil light?
Coal oil.
Did they have a glass globe, or?
Sure, yes. There should be some around as a souvenir somewhere in town.
Boy, that's news to me. It's the first time I heard it. I mean, I knew about Mosey Steak having this one, but that they hadn't other ones around, I didn't know.
Oh, I would believe there'd be somebody would have them somewhere. It would be our souvenirs, of course.
Yeah, that would be
I would believe this.
If we could just get a picture of one, it would be something to have. That's
Yeah, they were sitting. They were stripped down over a post.
Uh-huh.
The post was put in there, and they were stripped down over and stayed there.
Did they have them burning all night, or?
Evidently, whatever, I can't tell about what time they did turn them out. Anyway, they may not have been all night either.
No, I don't know.
Probably wasn't as much at night anyway.
We'll have to check into that further, because that's just new information.